Hey y'all, I wanted to make a quick video of some of my favorite stretches for the lower back. So let's go ahead and start with our feet. So usually our lower back hurts because of compression in our spine, which is generally caused by tight hips, which is generally caused by tight hammies, which is generally caused by tight calves and sometimes tight feet. So it's good to start with your feet. So let's go ahead and tuck our toes under, sit back on our heels, and this is called toe squat. Some people call it torture pose, fire toes, whatever. But if it feels good, maybe lean back a little bit, maybe draw your palms together at heart center, maybe reach back and rest your fingertips on the earth, lifting through your heart space. So finding what feels good to you, so you can open up the bottoms of your feet and your toes. If you're familiar with reflexology, you know that all of our internal organs are mapped out on the bottoms of our feet and toes, as well as on the bottoms of our palms and fingers. So as you give some love to your feet and your toes, you're giving all of your internal organs a lot of love and care as well. So find your edge where you feel an opening but no pain. If it starts to hurt, just lean forward a little bit, no big deal. But find your edge where it feels good, where you can feel an opening and a release here. And walk your hands forward, tap your toes out, sit back on your heels, maybe walk your hands back and maybe draw your knees up a little bit, maybe. So just finding, again, where it feels good to you. If this is as far as it feels good, awesome. If this is as far, that's totally fine. Just find what feels good to you. It might feel good to walk your hands forward and lift your hips up and back. And just rest your weight on the tops of your feet here. So find what feels good to you. And then roll your wrists. All right. So then let's go ahead and work our way up our legs. So let's start with our calves. So step back into the ball of your right foot. Maybe start to bend that right knee. So when you step back into the ball of your right foot, you might feel a nice stretch in that right calvie. Maybe as you bend that right knee, you might feel the stretch move down into your Achilles tendon. So just maybe play with straightening and bending. See what feels good there. As you move the stretch up your leg a little bit, it might feel good to lift your hips up and back a little bit, maybe bending and straightening that right knee here as well. Might feel good to shift your hips from side to side and just kind of play and see what you can loosen up in the back of that right leg. It might feel good to press your chest towards the earth. It might feel good to lift that left leg. So find what feels good, find what you can loosen up in the back of that right leg. And then we'll switch sides. So you can step back onto the ball of your left foot and press into that so you feel a nice stretch in your left calvie. Maybe start to bend that left knee. Maybe see if you can move that stretch down into your Achilles tendon. See what feels good to you. Maybe start playing with bending and straightening. Maybe lifting those hips up and back. Maybe pressing your chest towards the earth. Maybe continuing to bend and straighten. You've got license to explore and play in your own body and see what feels good to you. Maybe shifting your hips from side to side. Maybe lifting that right leg up. Just find what feels good to you. Good. And then we'll make our way back down to hands and knees. Now let's go ahead and inhale that right leg up. And exhale, swinging it forward on the outside of your hands, walking your hands up to meet your foot, then gently shifting your hips forward as far as feels good to you. So we want to stay out of the pain zone. So if it starts to hurt, just back out of it. The goal is not the shape of your body, the goal is the sensation within. So if you feel a nice opening in your right hammy, your left hip flexor, and you're breathing, then awesome, keep it up, you're doing great. It might feel good to drop down to your elbows. That might feel good to you. It might feel good, I'm gonna give you some options to take that right hand, press it into that right knee. Gaze can go over that right shoulder towards the ceiling to get a nice gentle spinal twist. It might feel good to press that right knee away from your core, rolling onto the outside of that right foot. That might feel good. If your hammies are nice and open already, then you can maybe try to reach that right hand back and catch your left foot and press it into your glutes for a really deep, delicious quad stretch on your left side, but you wanna make sure that your hammies are nice and open so that you don't get a Charlie horse back there. All right, good. And then once you find your option that feels good to you, you can go ahead and rest that back foot down. Plant your palms and shift your hips back, peeling back those right toes. Let's go ahead and rotate your ankle one direction and then the other. Good. Just getting some movement flowing through, energy flowing through your legs. Now let's go ahead and shift your hips a couple inches to the right and see how that changes your stretch. Breathing here, allowing things to release. And then once you feel that that's released, maybe shift your hips a couple inches forward and see if you can get into different muscles. So as is true in life, making little bitty changes can make a big difference in results. So one of the reasons why so many doctors recommend yoga for back pain is because we have so many muscles that connect our legs to our lower spine, and when those get tight, either from not stretching or from overusing or from underusing them, right? They can get tight, and that causes compression in your lower spine, and that causes pain. So as we loosen up as many of these hip muscles as we possibly can, as we shift our hips from side to side, finding different ones to release, as we loosen those up, we'll find relief in our lower back as we release these muscles. So, just one of the many reasons why so many doctors recommend yoga for back pain. Good. And once you've explored and released as much as you possibly can, you can plant your palms, weight in the palms, and make your way back to tabletop. Let's do a couple big hip circles, one direction and then the other, making sure that everything's loosened up and you've got energy flowing all the way down to your toes. Then inhale that left leg up and exhale, swing it through. On the outside of your hands, walk your hands up to meet your foot. Gently shift your hips forward as far as feels good to you in your body, listening to your body. If it starts to hurt, just back out of it, no big deal. Again, the goal is not the shape of your body. The goal is not to look like me or anyone else. The goal is to feel good. So to feel a nice opening in your right hip flexor, your left hammies, and just relax and release. So it might feel good to drop down to your elbows. Feel free to do that. It might feel good to walk your hands out a little farther. So find what feels good to you and just allow your body to open. Use your breath as a tool to soften your body and to change your body. So imagine that you can guide your breath, instead of guiding your breath to your lungs, guide your breath to wherever you feel the stretch. So maybe to that right hip flexor or your left hammies. So inhaling softness and ease to that area, and then exhaling out the tension, any restrictions, any limitations, just let it go. Good. Then same options on this side. You can plant that left hand on that left knee, pressing into that and gazing over your left shoulder towards the ceiling. That might feel good. Or it might feel good to press that left knee out away from your core, really getting into that left hip and that left glute as you roll onto the outside of that left foot. Then one more option, if your hammies are nice and open, you can reach that left hand back and catch your right toes, press them into your glutes. Enjoy that nice deep quad stretch on the right side this time. Using your breath to soften your body. Then releasing that right foot back, planting your palms on the earth and shifting your hips back, peeling back those left toes. Let's go ahead and roll your ankle one direction and then the other, making sure you got energy flowing to your toes. And then allowing yourself to release here. So feeling a nice opening in your left hammy, maybe in your left glutes, right? And then shifting a couple inches to the left and seeing what muscles you can release there. Shifting your hips forward a couple inches and see what you can release there. So basically what you're doing is you're seeking and destroying any kind of tension that you can find. So look for the tightness by shifting around. Once you find it, allow it to release, let go, and then shift to another place where you can find other tension to release. So seek and destroy, listening to your body, giving it the love and care that it wants and needs. And you might find that one side is a little bit easier to stretch on than the others. That's totally normal. So, all right, then making our way back to tabletop, big hip circles, one direction, then the other. Okay, and we'll just do one more stretch. So we can make our way to, actually we'll call it good for now. We'll do that another day. So go ahead and shoot your hips back and rest your forehead on the mat and take a moment to settle in, and let's go ahead and shift our hips a little bit from side to side. And just notice how that feels. See if you feel a little bit looser in your lower back. Notice if you felt any shifts or anything. You can always swim your hands back by your heels and rest your forehead on the mat. If it feels good, you can bend your elbows and rest your forehead on your forearms. Just find your version of child's pose that feels good. It might feel good to open your knees about to the width of the mat, keeping your big toes together, and see if you can sink your belly towards the earth. Let's just take a moment here to connect with the earth, feeling supported, feeling held, feeling cared for, feeling grounded and connected. Really good. So those are some quick stretches that have helped me a lot with my back pain. I hope that they help you. Namaste.